So many people want to start a business today, but the question is, do you have the money required to start a business? Because some people say that to make money, you got to have money. It takes money to make money, but does it really? Let's dive in and let's find out. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Success Spectrum podcast. I'm your host, Gideon McLean, and can you really start a business with no money? That's the question we got to answer, right? Because we're talking about how to start a business with no money, but there's a question, the precursor to that. Can you start a business with no money? And the answer, really, in short, not really. It takes money in order to start a business. However, do you have to have the money in your pocket or use your own money? Those are the real questions. That's what we're going to dive into and find out today. And to put it simply, I'll start this way. You do need some source of income, some source of money to start a business, right? There's an old video I remember hearing about. I never actually watched it myself, or I don't know if it was a video or an article, but somebody started off by trading a paperclip. And eventually they worked their way up to trading things that were worth, 1,000 times the amount of a paperclip. Let's say the equivalent of a car or something like that. But all they did was trade this item. Did they have to have the money to purchase the paperclip? I'll leave that up to you, right? Because I don't know how they got the paperclip or what the situation was, but the point is you got to have something, whether it's a skill, whether it's an item, whether it's OPM, which we'll talk about a little bit later in this video, but you've got to have some source of money, skill, equipment to be able to do this business, whatever business you're thinking of doing for the most part. Now, let me give you some examples. Whatever business you're thinking of, it requires money, right? Just want to put that out there. Of course, it's going to require some other things, but we've got to think about it this way. What skills do you currently have that you can utilize? What equipment do you currently have that you can utilize for making yourself some income? Do you have different insights? Are you good with PowerPoint? Are you great with drawing and artistic things? Are you great with video editing, right? Because as an example, PowerPoint, if you're great with making slides for people, charge people to make slides for them. Put your service online and charge people so that you can sit there and make a PowerPoint for them. You have a computer already, or if you want to do it from your phone, you can probably do that too. You already have Microsoft PowerPoint or whatever PowerPoint service, slideshow service you want to use, but you already have these things likely, so you can utilize these things to make yourself some income. Just create a profile online, Upwork, Fiverr. There's a bunch of different services or platforms you can utilize to do this exact thing. Photography, you're good with photography, you can do the same thing. Charge people less, let's say, than what they would typically pay for somebody of your skill and your caliber, but you can charge these people and make yourself some extra income. Did you put anything out? Not necessarily, because you already had this equipment, you already have these skills. However, you had to buy that equipment previously. So technically you did put money out, technically you didn't. So can you really start a business with no money? I'll let you decide. It's up to you, right? But you have this equipment already because it's something you do. You like to take pictures, so you already have a camera. You might record content, so you already have a camera. You have a phone. These phones nowadays are taking ridiculously high quality pictures and videos. You can use that for your photography. You can, again, PowerPoint. You might already have the Office suite, so you can just utilize that, or Office 365 nowadays it's called. Proofreading. It doesn't have to be anything technical. You can proofread people's work, whether it's a paper, whether it's a book that someone's writing, a manuscript, you can proofread for them. And of course, charge people X amount of dollars per word, or per page, or per line. So voiceovers, that's another thing you can do. You have a unique voice, you have an animated voice, you can do voiceovers and charge people to do voiceovers. Again, the thing is, how do you get your service out there? I've mentioned a few platforms already, Fiverr, Upwork, and so on and so forth. You can literally create ads maybe on Facebook and do it for people. You have a skill, you have equipment that you can currently utilize to get yourself some extra income so that you can focus on your business. This is an extra level of income, aside from your job, aside from whatever you might do regularly to make income, and aside from your business likely, but you're just using it as a platform to get you the money you need to start your business as an entrepreneur, right? Is this a form of entrepreneurship? Sure, but it's really just a springboard to get you to that business that you really want to do. So you can utilize this thing to increase your income. 2, you can rent your vehicle, right? Turo, whatever the case is. When you're not using your vehicle, you can utilize these different platforms to rent out your vehicle for that time you're not using it. So now it's making you money, something you already have. And even if you only rent it out to make enough to cover maybe your car note or your monthly payment on your car, that still helps. Because that's an extra $200-300, let's say, that now you don't have to put out, but you can use it for your business. Drive Uber, number 3. You can drive Uber, Lyft. You can do DoorDash. And again, you already have the equipment or you already have the vehicle. It's just a matter of putting aside the time to get yourself that extra income. So you're not really putting anything out dollar-wise. So you're really starting a business with no additional equipment that needs to be purchased. As a subscriber to this podcast or a listener to this podcast, I want to give you $30. How am I going to do that? Enter Rakuten. Rakuten is a platform where you can find deals of the week. And on here, it doesn't matter if you're looking for clothes, doesn't matter if you're looking for electronics, services, food, you can get cash back. $30 cash back, rather 30%, 20%, 4%. You can get Dyson, Yeti. I know a lot of us need to file our taxes. Those of us who are late, you can use Intuit TurboTax to file your taxes. Ancestry. There are deals upon deals on here. And here's how it's going to work. I refer you. You click the link in the description. You spend $30 on this platform. Guess what? We both get $30 back. Sounds like a win-win deal, doesn't it? Go ahead and click that link in the description and get yourself your $30. OPM, other people's money. This is something you can utilize. Other people's money. Whether it's a loan from a family member or a friend, whether it's a loan from an existing asset that you have, you take a loan against it or a lien against it. You can take money from your LOC, your line of credit. Be careful with this one. Be careful with all of these ones, of course. You got to make sure you have a plan, know how much you're going to make, do the math, and actually put in the work, create an action plan to make sure you can pay that loan back, whether it's to a family member, to yourself on a line of credit, whether it's to a private lender or to a bank. Make sure you set up a plan and do the math. And again, that action plan to make sure you follow the steps required to be able to pay back that loan, or at least keep up with the payments on that loan until you pay it off. It's again, I'm not recommending you do this. I'm just saying it's an option for you. So do you need money to be able to start a business? Yes and no. It's a bit of a gray area, if you will. You don't necessarily need to have $10,000 right now. You don't need to have $1,000 right now, not even 500, because utilizing these things that we just talked about quickly in this video, you'll be able to get yourself some extra income to then utilize for creating that business that you're building. All right. So quick one today. Hopefully this was helpful for you. If you found this helpful, share it out with somebody who you know could benefit from it. And here's another thing you can do. Side note, bonus, invest in yourself. When you get this extra income, one of the things about business and entrepreneurship is, I've heard it so many times where people there's examples, right? Like Diary of a CEO, he did one example where he had 3 big people on there, big entrepreneurs, and he gave them each, one was 10,000, one was maybe 1,000, and then one was $100,000. And he said, okay, what would you do with this money in terms of building a business right now? The majority of them, or all 3 of them really, said it doesn't necessarily matter how much money you have. What you're going to do is invest in yourself and build yourself up, right? Build a skill that can then generate more income for you. And then of course, go to build that business that you're building, right? Except for the 100,000, that was a little bit different, but essentially he's doing the same thing. He's just using it to invest in an area where he can then get those skills. So all 3 of these big time entrepreneurs, right? I would say their names, but I don't remember all 3 of their names. So I'm not going to go ahead and say it. Now, that is an example to show you that investing in yourself is one of the biggest returns and rewards you can give yourself. Because on the other side of that, you'll be in a situation where you can now increase your income and you can now utilize those skills you've learned to build that business. Increasing your income, whether it's at the same job or a different job or whatever the case is, one of the mistakes that entrepreneurs make oftentimes, new entrepreneurs, is they jump and leave their job thinking, oh, I'm going to do this business full time. And while that's a great sentiment, you're putting yourself in a hole. You got streams of income. And while I don't necessarily consider the job a stream of income, it is a source of income, and it should be or can be the biggest investor for your business if you allow it. So if you cut off that job, where's your income now? You don't have any. And now you're scrambling and aiming to do things as a business owner without any sense of, how can I put it, without any income coming in. And to build a business without any income, it's kind of difficult. That's where now those other things we talked about come in. You might have to end up driving Uber. You might have to end up doing DoorDash or doing PowerPoint slides for people, or whatever the case is. You got to do something to get some type of income, because your business, you're still building it. You might not have income coming in yet, at least not consistently. So again, I'm not recommending people leave their job. I'm not recommending people just jump into entrepreneurship. Like I've said before, I still have a job currently, and I thank God the job allows me autonomy to run my business the way I need to run it. So again, don't jump and leave your business. I don't recommend it. For those of you who know you want to, okay, great, up to you. I don't recommend it. But again, hopefully this information helped you in ways that you can utilize your current skills to generate some extra income for yourself and utilize that to build your business. And again, it doesn't have to be anything technical. You can be a great leader. You can be a great coach. You can go coach a football team, soccer team, basketball team, whatever it might be. You can go do mentorship for people and get paid something there. You can go offer those coaching services online, leadership services online, and get paid for that. I'm telling you, whatever skills you have, you can generate some income utilizing that skill to then use to generate, or rather increase and build your business. All right, Kadeem here. Hopefully this was helpful for you, and I'll see you on the next one.